culture. And here he is, Michael Savage.
Well, we're all hanging on our, let's say, by a tether, waiting to hear who the shooters were in Canada. Thus far, it's just soldier and shooter dead. Fox News, along with CNN and MSNBC, have now fallen to a new low, the equivalent of the equivalent of the equivalent of you-know-what, afraid to say the truth. So who was the shooter in Canada? Well, we won't know for a while. I'm sure they're trying to figure out exactly how to make it sound as palatable as possible. Now, there are reports, which I posted on michaelsavage.com, and it's the only site posting Jihad Watch. Witness to Parliament shooting says the gunman was wearing an Arabic scarf. An Arabic scarf. You know what we're talking about, don't you? We're not talking about Democrat versus Republican. We're not talking about Republicans good, Democrats bad. No, we're not talking about weapons of mass destruction during Bush's reign. We are talking about a shooting that occurred this morning in the Canadian Parliament in the most liberal province in Canada, Ottawa. Now, there are several things that pop out when you watch the footage. One, the cops have no helmets. Have you noticed that? Most of the police have no helmets. The tax squad has helmets, but not the police. You see, in liberal Ottawa, if a cop wore a helmet, it would be frightening to the long hairs, the hippies who run that province. They hate the police and they hate the military. It's interesting to me that the man with the Arabic scarf and his cohorts who broke into the Parliament to shoot it up first shot up the Canadian War Memorial. Now, let's pause for a minute on the Canadian War Memorial. The Canadian War Memorial commemorated the brave Canadian soldiers, originally those who died in World War I. There were many thousands. In World War II, the Canadians were some of the most wonderful troops. 45,000 Canadians died fighting Hitler. And then the memorial was changed to include those who died in the Korean War as well. But why would the Arabic scarf-wearing gunman, the Muslim, if it turns out to be a Muslim, we don't know yet, of course. It could be, I don't know, it could be a Zoroastrian in a scarf. It could be a Jewish man in a scarf. It could be a woman in a scarf from Brooklyn who just put a scarf on her head. We can't rush to judgment and assume it was a Muslim. It would be logical to think that it might be a Muslim, since just the other day, a car in Canada, a jihadi went crazy and hit and run people and ran them over, and he was heard calling to jihad. He was calling to jihad. Canadian hit and run jihadi heard ISIS call to jihad, did his part. So they're at war with the West. Canada hit and run jihadi's friend says he heard Islamic State's call to jihad and he did his part here. He became obsessed with practicing his new religion. He prayed constantly. And yet, despite his zeal, despite his obsession with practicing Islam, I guess he got his religion all wrong. Because as you well know, most Muslims are very peaceful. It's a peace-loving religion. I mean, just ask Obama. A few of them, it's true, take it literally and read the holy book and follow it to the letter of the law. But nevertheless, this one drove someone over screaming Allah, whatever. Now today, the witness to the Parliament shooting says a gunman was wearing an Arabic scarf. What's really getting me angry is that Fox News, along with MSNBC, has this report, gunman and soldier dead in shooting at Canadian Parliament. Suddenly there's an equivalent now between a jihadist and a soldier. You see the moral equivalence of liberalism? Gunman and soldier are linked together, as though there was a duel in the sun. A gunman and a soldier went out and had a fair duel in the sun, according to Fox News. Well, no, that's not what happened. A mad jihadi apparently went into the war memorial and shot a soldier dead who was there as a guard. And then they broke up into a pair of three, allegedly, and one went into the Parliament and started shooting it up. But you won't see that on any of the websites yet because the official story has not yet come down from the press. So here we are facing a jihad against the West. Gunman in Canadian Parliament shooting dead. Shots reported at other Ottawa sites. Soldier killed. Prime Minister is safe. And if you watch the ninnies being run out of the Parliament, with some of them with their hair flying down to their behind, I mean, you really say, my God, if you were a jihadist, you'd be laughing at the West, wouldn't you? The weakness of the West is just overwhelming. If you care to comment on this or any other story, and that's the only story I'm interested in right now, is the gunman in Canada. They haven't yet identified the gunman. There's another thing we can talk about. The liberal establishment often has people who write books. Andrew Cuomo is one of them, as far left as you can get, part of the Democrat socialist cabal. They paid him over $700,000 in advance for his book, and it sold 945 copies, according to the Drudge Report. And that is, you can find the Cuomo book anywhere you like. Of course, nobody's interested in it. How is it no one bought Hillary's book, no one's buying Cuomo's book, and my book they can't keep in stock? How's that possible? 855-400-7282 is the phone number. What would you like to talk about in the Savage Nation? Right now, I have no connection to my Telos for the third day in a row because my crack team is busy breaking a peanut brittle open, but they haven't bothered connecting my lines to the caller, so I can't take any. This is day number 3 of no connection to my audience because peanut brittle comes before the Savage Nation audience. What else is in the news? Well, let's go to michaelsavage.com and see what else is in the news. Witness to Parliament shooting says a gunman was wearing Arabic scarf. Interesting. Gunman and soldier dead in shooting at Canadian Parliament. Newspapers video captures shooting in Parliament. Shots were fired. Oh, yes, autopsy shows the gentle giant Michael Brown in Ferguson didn't have his hands up. You know the rest of that story, don't you? You know that story. He had his head inside the police car and he was trying to kill the cop, and the cop was fighting for his life. Go tell that to the people who run MSNBC. Go tell that to the louts who keep Al Sharpton on the air. Go ahead. 855-400-7282 is the phone number. This is Michael Savage. We're still trying to get connected here. Unfortunately, we're having a little difficulty because I think they're on a peanut brittle break. Oh, there we go. I did it myself. Very good. Line 1, Thomas on WABC. Go ahead, please.
Blessings to you. Michael, remember when the president...
Oh, please, let's stop with the bless you and Jesus. Go away. Take a walk. Never call me again. I told you never to have this guy on. He changes his name every day, and every day it's bless Jesus. I don't want to hear it anymore. Okay, that leaves one open line on the Savage Nation. Dan on line 5. Go ahead, please.
Greetings, Savage. I've been listening to you for 10 years. Read all your books. I'm a Canadian up here in Canada. I got a buzz cut, and I'm an ex-military man. As far as us all being long-haired hippie types and our cops not wearing helmets, as perhaps we're just a little bit more civilized up here, and we don't need as many. So
no, you do. Excuse me, sir. You don't get it. I wasn't criticizing the cops. I was criticizing the liberals in Ottawa who have gelded the police in Canada and made them frightened for their lives. Do you know what just came out, my friend? The Canadian military has just been told not to wear their uniforms in public. Now, it's very odd to me. Why aren't they telling women not to wear burqas in public in Canada? Why are they telling the jihadis not to wear their Arabic headscarves in public? They're telling the soldiers not to wear their uniform? Does that make sense to you?
Because we're working on it. We're going to be like France. We're going to outlaw burqas. We're becoming more and more conservative. But right now, we got to deal with a baby boomer hippie type generation that ruined everything in this country since the time of Pierre Elliott Trudeau. Now,
that's right. You mean the type that Obama is? I'm pretty sure.
We got a lesbian running this province who's a leftist liberal.
Why are lesbians all leftists? Why is it that people on that side of the sexual orientation scale, why are they all leftists? I don't understand it. There is a possibility for them to love their country, isn't there?
Yeah, probably the way it works. Anyway,
all right. Where are you calling from? Which city?
I'm way over near a town near, London, Ontario, Sarnia, Windsor.
Well, how are you listening to the Savage Nation? On the Internet, I assume?
No. Good old-fashioned radio.
Well, what station do you get it on up there in Canada?
The good old WJR. I think it's a 50,000.
Oh, you're getting it at Detroit, of course, the powerhouse flamethrower from Detroit.
Yep.
Well, my mother is Canadian. God rest her soul. She was born in Montreal. She's Canadian by birth. You know that, don't you?
Well, your stories.
Yep. Well, I'm going to send you a free copy of Stop the Coming Civil War. Let's hope that you can stop it in Canada as well. Because unless the leftists are stopped, I can guarantee you this country is going to blow, and so will Canada. There's only so much anyone can take. Thanks for the call. That brings us to 16 minutes after the hour on the Savage Nation. If you get a comment on any of this, fine, go ahead. Let's go to New Mexico, KKOB. Carmen, go ahead, please. You're on the Savage Nation.
Hey, Dr. Savage. I've been listening to you for so long. and I'm kind of nervous right now, but
Well, as long as you don't say so long, we're still in business.
Okay. Right now, I don't even watch our evening news here in the United States anymore.
Why don't you watch Fox News? It's so fair and balanced. Isn't Fox News fair and balanced? Isn't O'Reilly the fairest man in the media?
Oh, no, not anymore.
Well, what about Megyn Kelly? Isn't she the new Martha Washington of the news? Doesn't she stand for the American flag and all things conservative?
No.
No, not at all. Not at all. No, not at all. You never hear them talk about illegal immigrants, do you? That's because the boss man has told them never, ever, ever talk against amnesty. You see, they're in the pocket of the Obama administration. Thank you for the call. We really didn't get anywhere. KCMO, Kansas City. Stu, you're up on the Savage Nation. What's on your mind?
Hi, Michael. Well, 2 points. First off, I got to object to you using the terms a mad jihadi or saying a jihadi went crazy, because that's clearly redundant, Michael.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's an oxymoron. You're right.
You're right. But on a more serious note, you know, we Judeo-Christian types, and for all I know, Hindus and other people of other mainstream religions, we pray for all kinds of things, and it's entered our language. We say, you know, I pray that you'll feel better soon. You know, I pray for a resolution. I pray for you, for this and that. I'm wondering, Michael, do Muslims pray for anything other than the death of their enemies and for martyrdom?
I don't know. Maybe some mainstream Muslims who agree with us can call the show and straighten us out on it. The impression we're getting is that there aren't any people daring to speak out against the jihadis, and yet I have to remind you and everyone else that more Muslims have been killed by Muslims than killed by anyone else. They're on a warpath against their own people. Look at the story I covered yesterday. A poor Muslim woman was stoned to death with her own father dragging her into a pit, and stoned to death by her own father in Syria because she committed adultery. So she was a Muslim. She was killed because she committed adultery. Her own father took her by a rope to a pit and then threw a rock on her head. Can you imagine this? That's a religion of peace. I guess they haven't figured out that there are certain things in the Holy Book written for the 9th century that no longer need apply. I'll be right back.